Well, as my regular viewers are well aware, I just got started riding e-bikes a couple of months ago, and I never thought it would be so much fun. At that time, I was sent a Hemingway Escape, and it's basically a moped, and then I found out that I like to pedal. Who would have thought? So this one is an Avadar, and it's a mountain bike. And let's get it open and I'll show you. They make three models. They make the C3 Sport and the C3 City and the C5 Step Through. The only difference between the C3 Sport and the C3 City is the C3 City has the addition of a rear rack and fenders. Maybe a couple other things. Let's get it open. This is the C3 City because most of my riding is done here in town. However, I do hit the trails on the edge of town here quite frequently. This ought to do both. Let's get it open. Packaged up here very carefully, this is the battery. So I'll be putting that on a charger right away. Instructions. A fully adjustable seat. There it is. It's black. Another small box. A pair of pedals. A couple of reflectors, which are required by law. This is a Allen wrench kit. And a headlight. Disc brakes. We'll get into the details on this in the review. There's a fender. The handlebars. This is the keys up here. It's got a rear kickstand so it doesn't get in the way of the pedal. That's a good feature. The rear fender's already on, huh? Good. It has a really good manual. You got that all right? No problem. But the brakes are hydraulic. How sweet. Hydraulic brakes are nice because there's no adjustment involved with them. On my other e-bike, it has cables. And the problem with cables is they stretch and they stretch and they stretch. And they need adjusted every week. They do. Hydraulics don't. Well, it's all put together. The only thing I need to do is go put some air in the tires. The battery was 98%. And pedals are tight, handlebars are tight. I'm gonna go take it for a quick spin. My initial impression here is it's really well made. And it's a mid-drive as opposed to a hub drive. So this video won't be entirely just about this bike. We're going to talk about e-bikes in general and what the difference is between hub drive versus mid-drive, what the benefits of one is over the other, and help you decide which one is best for you. But I'm pretty excited about this bike. It looks good. Well, I didn't exactly pick a great day for doing this review on this bike or the review ride. It's cloudy and it's 20 degrees out. Woohoo! Got heavy gloves on with hand warmers inside. I knew my fingers would freeze if I didn't do that. On the left side here, you got your display. This shift lever here shifts the front sprockets from the big sprocket to the smaller sprocket. So it's got two positions. Basically, I leave that on the big sprocket around town, and getting off on trails, I put it on the small sprocket. On the right side is the rear gear stack, and it's got 8 speeds on that. So you got a 16 speeds to choose from here. We've got 5 power levels on the motor. I generally have it down about 1 or 2, up to 5 for going up a steep hill. I'll go back over everything after I get stopped and in a warm place. Basically what I wanted to show you right now was how smooth it shifts and how quiet it is. Shifting down. To shift back up again, the lever's on my forefinger side over here. It shifts instantaneously. The motor is really quiet. It's a lot quieter than a hub motor. You hardly hear it. Just a faint whine. As for power, let's talk about that for a second. Well, now this is a mid-drive instead of a hub drive. And my other bike has a 750 watt motor in the hub drive. This has a 250 watt motor mid-drive. But they both put out 80 nanometers of torque. So they're putting out the same amount of torque. So I feel no difference in the amount of power that I have between the two motors. I'm pedaling up a slight incline right now. I've got 20 miles an hour here. This one's for the serious trail rider. So this bike is quite capable of going off-road and is actually built to do that. That's why they made the bike with the mid-drive motor, so the center of gravity is down lower and centered. Now I'm going down a pretty steep hill here, but the hydraulic brakes are great. They're very positive, they grab fast, and they're smooth. Now there's no throttle on this bike. So that means you need to pedal it to go. Like I say, this is a bike rider's bike, designed for the serious rider and somebody who is into getting the exercise and not just cruising it like a moped. And this is what I look like this morning. Well, down here you can see the hub drive motor. Like I mentioned, it's 250 watts. The battery is 36 volts and it's a 10 amp hour battery. With the smaller, with the motor of this size though, that gives me a couple of days of riding. It's probably good for about 50 miles. I know I can easily put 30 miles on it and still have battery left. Just so far in the riding that I've done on the bike. It takes 4 to 6 hours to charge the battery, and you can either charge it while it's in the bike, or you can take the battery out like I do now that it's cold. I don't leave it out in the cold garage. I bring it inside and I just plug it into the charger. It comes with an AC charger. The frame is all welded aluminum and it looks really stout. The bike weighs 55 pounds, so it's fairly lightweight. As far as e-bikes go, this thing doesn't weigh very much at all. Comes with a headlight, turns on up here, and a tail reflector. It's got trauma front shocks on it. (27.5-inch) wheels. Shimano equipment on it. And hydraulic brakes. Like I mentioned, the C3 Sport is just exactly the same bike here, but without the fenders and the rear rack here. And then there's a C5 step-through, which is a really nice bike. I really like that. I bought this one though because I wanted to be able to put a water bottle down here, and I wanted to be able to put in a frame bag right in here to carry things. The battery does come out with a key, and the lock is over here on this side. Plus this is another mechanical lock. So you turn the key and then you pull this up and then the battery drops down and comes right out. Not difficult at all. Let me see if I can do that for you here without my hands freezing. Turn the key a quarter turn, slide this up, And that's how easy the battery comes out for charging. Lithium-ion battery. Well, I'm no expert, but let me tell you a little bit about what I know about the differences between a hub drive motor, which is always on the rear hub, usually, and a mid-drive motor. The hub drive motors are controllable with a throttle, and when you're using them, it's like a moped. You don't even have to pedal. All you do is just hit the throttle, just accelerate or decelerate. One person referred to it as like driving around in third gear, because it's only got one speed that way. And they're real handy for around town. Now for trail riding, you don't get the advantages, the advantage of all the speeds in a hub drive motor like you do on, like this is 16 speeds with a mid-drive motor, and you can use that mid-drive motor in any of those gears. Sometimes with a hub drive motor, you got 7 speeds on the back, but it doesn't affect the velocity of the motor itself. It's still like a single gear. Although if you're pedaling, that's when you can feel the difference of the 7 different speeds on the back. I find this bike to be very agile. I've had 2 10 speeds in the past, but that was quite a while ago, but I don't seem to have any trouble maneuvering this bike around, even for my age. And from what I'm seeing on this bike, the mid-drive motor seems to be more economical power-wise. Like I say, it's only a 250 watt motor, but it performs just like my 750 watt motor, hub drive motor does. As for how much power I have in the pedal and what I can do going up hills, it's about the same. So the way this would work is whatever gear you're in up here, that mid-drive motor is giving you extra power. And then you can shift from 1 to 5 up here how many levels of input you want that motor to be putting in. On the top level, you're hardly using any pedal power at all. You're just kind of going through the motions, and the motor is doing everything for you. Of course, the more you use it that way, the more battery you use, but I would say that if I left it in level number 5, I could probably do a 20-mile ride around the city here and not run out of battery. I'd be okay that way. I usually have it down at 1, and then 2 if I'm going into a headwind. And most of the time going up hills, I put it up on about a 3, but a really steep hill, I'll put it up on 5. Of course, I can gear it down at the same time to get whatever level of pedal assist I want. And you know how 10 speeds are. You can be pedaling like this and doing 5 miles an hour. Well, this bike will do that too. It'll go up really steep inclines that way. Another feature is the rear kickstand. Instead of the kickstand being up near the pedals, it's further back. And the reason for that is, if you've ever owned a bike and you're on the other side of the bike and you go to back it up in the garage, when you back the bike up, the pedals start moving, as you can see them moving here. And as they come around, they hit a center kickstand right about here, and they lock up. Well, having this kickstand on the back, it just makes it easier to move around in the garage or your storeroom when you're standing on the opposite side of the bike. You don't have to worry about retracting the kickstand to move the bike around. Nice feature. Well, at the time of shooting this video, this bike isn't available on the market quite yet. This is December 6th, and it's 2021. This bike is available right now through Indiegogo, and you go sign up on their, whatever they call that. It's going to hit the market, though, in about a month, so it'll be available through normal outlets. Avadar. This is just more like just a regular bike. Imagine riding a regular bike, multi-speed bike, but having no problem going up the hills at all. That's where it really shines. You can go farther and you can go faster. So when you're commuting on a bike like this, you'll get to your destination a lot quicker because the bike is just faster with that little bit of assist, or a lot of assist, depending on what level you choose. And that brings up another thing. For example, right now I don't even have the motor turned on the bike. I'm just using it like a regular bike. And this bike is light enough, and with all these speeds, like right now, and just on the city streets and everything, you don't even need the motor. But boy, when you turn it on, it does help. Well, even though it looks warm out, it's not. It's in the low 20s. So let's get this bike home and then I'll discuss the further details with you when we get there. Well, it's good to be back in the warmth of my house. It ended up snowing outside. It's Montana. This bike features what they call smart power output with a torque sensor. Just because you have it on a level where it's helping you pedal, if you are like going downhill or you're on a straight stretch with the wind behind you and you're not using as much power, it senses that you're using less torque on the pedals, and it backs off the battery power automatically to conserve power. So then if you come to a slight incline or something, you start pedaling harder, it senses you're pedaling harder, and it puts the power back in. You don't feel that when you're riding it. It's very smooth and kind of in the background. You know you're getting more power, but you don't feel it. Like there's no jump. You don't feel it lurch or anything like that. It's just a smooth change to add more power. All the cables run inside, but they run right here into the frame. And then there are no power cables going back to a rear hub motor. So the power cable remains right here in the frame, right here to the motor itself. Very neat that way. The light on it, I rode it last night after dark, and this little headlight, I was amazed, is really bright. So I had no problem on the city streets here seeing where I was going, and I think on a trail it would be okay too. It does not have a electric light on the back. It only has a reflector. And if I was going to be riding regularly at night, I'd put an electric light on the back. Range-wise, I was on my way to getting 50 miles out of this. And their book says, the specs on this says you can get 31 to 62 miles. And I think that that's not out of the question. Now, where I ride there are some hills, but with the power assist and the torque sensing on it, I was going to get 50 miles. I had 31 miles on it, and I still had 60% battery left, so I felt that I was easily going to get 50 miles out of it. As for the display here, push it and hold it, and the bike will turn on. Welcome. This shows your power level down here. Right now it's on 1. This is your mileage. This is your miles per hour, and this is how much battery you have left. So here's the plus, here's the minus. By pushing the plus, you increase your power level up to a high of 5, or you can put it back down again. If you push the plus and hold it, that's when the front light comes on. Now, one important thing here, this bike is just coming out on the market. You have to if you go to Indiegogo now, you can get a 30% discount if you pre-order. Check the video description below for all pertinent information and links. Anyways, if you guys like this review, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you around.